Keilholtz, and we've had her on many times talking about colleges and how to get your kid into one. And she's got a new role as well. We're going to get to it first. But Lady Di, welcome back. Great to talk with you again.
It's really great to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
And
I appreciate it.
On the theme of the day, how tall are you, Di?
I am definitely not 6'7". My ancestors were of Irish and English descent, and I don't think much of us got over 5. My brothers got over 5'8" or 5'9", and I clock in at like 5'1". So yes,
John, you really are bringing up the average.
You really are bringing up the average, and I really appreciate it. You are the person I look for when I get on a plane and I need to put my suitcase up.
Oh, yeah,
I am, and Dianne, I'm willing to help always. I also walk around grocery stores, and people ask me, "Can you get that off the top shelf?" Yes, of course.
Yes, I'm the one who put it there.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, my wife is 5'1", and I'm by no means tall, but compared to her, I am.
When you stand next to her, she looks Lilliputian.
When you would stand next to her, she would look Lilliputian.
Yes.
Right? But I remember early on when we were first married, and I'd put something on a top shelf, and then one day I see her standing on her tiptoes, reaching as much as she could reach, and she said, "Who put these on the top shelf? Not me. Wasn't me. Wasn't me." Okay, we're not putting those on the top shelf anymore. Yeah,
yes.
We'll take that at the
I always put anything I wanted to eat myself when the kids were growing up. I always just put it on the top shelf. Nobody was getting to it without a big climb.
Yeah. Di, you're also now a newly installed CASA volunteer.
I am.
Yeah. Tell me about that journey.
Well, I was a high school guidance counselor for 30 years. So as a high school guidance counselor, I've had several experiences working with CASA volunteers and helping students who are in foster care. And one of the little-known facts, or maybe it's not such a little-known fact anymore, but I was a high school counselor. And for high school students, when they reach the age of 18, whether they're still in school or not, they don't have a place to live. They're no longer in foster care. And I met a CASA volunteer about 15 years ago, and she let me know about that, which was troubling for me because a lot of them end up homeless. And she talked to me about how she was taking the student that she was in charge of to get food stamps and to see if he could get any subsidized housing at the time. And I don't think that fact has changed a lot in the last 15 years. So, my business, I still have my college counseling business. It slowed down a little bit, but not. I still have people calling me, which I'm very grateful for. Mm-hmm. But I also wanted to give back, and I wanted to see if I could, help a student or two who are experiencing this trauma for them. So.
Well, I remember learning that a few years back when we would do interviews with different agencies and such in regards to foster care, and so many kids turn 18 while they are still in school.
Right.
I did. My birthday is in January, so I turned 18 midway through the school year. If I was in foster care in the middle of winter, it's potentially possible that I would have been cast out and, all right, you're on your own. Okay, how do I do this? I don't have a job really that pays enough to pay rent. And buy food. So what happens? And I asked that question. And the answer was, well, sometimes foster families let them stay until they're on their own, but they're not obligated to, which is a lot to put on the foster family and the kid. There's no guarantee of what's going to happen.
Right.
As far as I know, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I don't believe the foster family keeps getting paid by the state at that point.
They don't.
No, I didn't think so.
Yeah.
They don't.
So
yeah.
It becomes your expense.
It becomes a big problem. So, I do believe very strongly in giving back. I think I do believe in volunteering. And so when this opportunity came up, I just said yes. So I'm excited about it.
Have you begun your training and such?
My training was in May, and I have begun working with a family. So I began working with a family earlier this month.
So you are now an official court-appointed special advocate. How did you get your family?
Well, there's more families than there are court-appointed special advocates. So after I was sworn in, which happened on June 14th, or not June 14th, close to June 14th. I don't remember the date right now. I was asked by the folks at CASA if I would look at a certain casework, look at a case and decide if I wanted to work with them. And they sent me the case, and I looked at it, and I said absolutely. So yeah, I've met with the kids once. I'll be meeting with them next week, and I've met with their foster family, and I'm in the process of meeting with. There's lots of different people that are involved with this, and so the parents each have a lawyer. So there's 2 lawyers, one for mom, one for dad, and the children have a lawyer, and there's a therapist. And of course, once they start school, there's their teachers, and then there's the person who's assigned the case from Child Protective Services. So I'm in the process. I've started reaching out to some of those folks so I could talk to them about the children and about where everything is at in the process and what information they can give me. So and then there's a hearing in August sometime, and I will be at the hearing and will be sharing my findings with the judge.
You mentioned kids. How many children are involved in this case?
2.
2, and what are their ages?
9 and 7.
9 and 7.
Wow.
Matt Miller.
Dianne, with your experience as a guidance counselor and some of the knowledge that you may have already had, tell us about the training and were there some things that maybe even surprised you in the training to be ready for what you're doing as a CASA volunteer?
That's a great question. So I know a lot about kind of working with children. I know a lot about, what is age appropriate and developmentally appropriate. And I know, I'm a good listener and I know how to talk to kids. I didn't know a lot about the law. And so for me, learning the different cases and learning about the law that's involved with all of this, which can be cumbersome because the legal system wants to give the parents the opportunity to get their children back. And so one of the things that will happen once we have a hearing is the parents will be given what I would call an action plan of things that they have to do. So this whole process can drag out over months and maybe even years because the parents are working through the action plan, or they work through it and then they stumble and then they come back and beg the courts to allow them to work through it some more. So I think understanding the legal process and making sure that I don't step on anybody's toes legally was an important thing for me to learn.
You then mentioned being sworn in June. What's that about, being sworn in?
So I am now an officer of the court. So I pledged an oath to work with the children and to be as honest and forthright with the court system as I can. The judges really do look to the CASA volunteers because, everybody's got a part to play. The lawyers have a part to, everybody has a part to play. I'm the only one who's advocating solely for the children. So I am, in essence, speaking for them. They're not in court, but I'm speaking on behalf of them. And so I went actually to a court in Jefferson County, and the judge swore all of us in. And so it was really I asked one of my granddaughters to come with me because she's interested in becoming a psychotherapist. So she came along, and it was important for me to have her see that, but it was really kind of a cool experience.
You say swore all of us in, so there were other CASAs being sworn in at the same time?
Yes, there were 7 or 8 of us who went through the training together. And the training, as I said, was in May. It was twice a week for 3 hours in the evening. And we began on the first Tuesday in May, and we ended on the last Thursday in May.
So 7 being sworn in, but you mentioned there are still more families in need than there are advocates. Do you know what those numbers are?
I wish I did, but I don't.
Jonathan Bodwell.
CASA. I mean, the program has been around a long time. Are they finding that they are getting more volunteers now or less? Is there more of a disparity between the kids who need someone, an advocate, and the amount of advocates than we have, or is that getting better or worse? Have you heard?
That I can't answer. I think you'd have to talk to somebody who actually works at the office. I know there were 7 of us, and I know that they have trainings at least twice a year. There's going to be enough, because my granddaughter actually was asking about whether she could go through the training. She's not old enough yet, but anyway, I know there's going to be another training in September. So I would imagine that they could have them several times during the year.
Sorry, go on.
No, that's okay. That's pretty much all I was going to say.
What I was going to say, what is expected of you? What is the time frame? What
commitment?
Well, the time commitment. What were you told that you would be expected of you as a volunteer?
Well, the time commitment is that I really get to know all the players in this case, specifically the children. And then I meet with the children at least twice a month, if not more than that. And that really is dependent upon the foster family, how often they're okay with me coming in. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm going to be meeting with the children, probably more than twice a month. I know one of the things, the grandmother who's the foster mother right now, had no idea how to go about getting the children enrolled in school. So one of the things I'm doing today is I'm going to call and see what the process is in Berkeley County to enroll the kids in a different county, because the grandparents are in a different county. So, I can be as involved, if not more involved. But it's also kind of talking to all the players and then attending the hearings. So I will type up all of my notes and share. I have a volunteer coordinator that I'll share them with, and then the notes will be given to the judge, and then I will present them at the hearing. And there's multiple hearings that will happen. So this could be more time consuming than not, but right now it's not that time consuming. I think once school starts, it might become a little bit more time consuming.
Are you expected to take on more than one case at a time, Dianne, or is it you see one case through and then you get to the next?
That's up to me. They'll give me as many cases as I want. I specifically asked that question, Rob, and the gentleman who interviewed me, he said, well, you can take as many cases as you want. So what I have decided to do is I'm only going to take one case for right now, and then kind of get my feet wet in all this whole process, and then decide after that if I want another one.
You worked in the schools and as a school counselor, and that definition and that role has changed over the years, and I'm sure you saw it change while you were doing that, but you've seen a lot. Does some of this still pull the heartstrings, Dianne, or are you able to take a bit more of an academic view of what you're doing right now? It will. That has nothing to do with my training, Rob. It will always pull at my heartstrings, because when children are hurting, it just concerns me. So, but that doesn't mean I go off and get enmeshed with the family. I don't do things like that. So. But yeah, it pulls at your heartstrings. I can tell you one thing that I have decided personally is that I don't want to work with really, really young children, just because I think it would be too much for me to handle. Yeah, everybody has to know their own limits. Right. That's a smart decision on your part, Dianne.
So you had said your college counseling business has gone down a little bit. Do you think that's because we have less kids going to college here in West Virginia, here in the Eastern Panhandle? No, I work with children all across the country. When COVID hit, my business became primarily a Zoom business, and I
my business is primarily referral. People who I've worked with who've liked me refer to me to other folks. I mean, I do publish a blog twice a month. I'm taking the month of July off, but starting in August, it'll be up on my website. So I do that, and there's a couple of other things that I do to kind of get myself marketed. But primarily, I'm a referral business from previous customers. So I do have a client right now in West Virginia, but the majority of my clients are from Maryland and Virginia. And then I have a client in San Francisco right now, and I've got a client in Texas. So I never know where they're going to come from. And the reason why my business kind of took a decline is because I was the primary caregiver for my husband for 3 years, and he passed away last year.
I'm sorry.
So, thank you. So I just didn't have the bandwidth to kind of take on any more clients. But, I'm now back and working with clients and loving what I do. And so
has the process become harder for families navigating the path to college?
Yes. Absolutely, it's become harder.
How so?
There's a lot of variables in place. I mean, when COVID hit, I think it made the news, and pretty much everybody who wanted to find it out could find it out. Students didn't have to take the ACT or the SAT because they couldn't find proctors to proctor the students because of COVID. Everybody was kind of leery of everybody else at the time and not wanting to be in a room with other people. So when that happened, the college process became test optional. We're not going to require you to do the testing. But colleges being the way they are and wanting to make sure that the students that they get are a good fit for the school and will also be successful, they added other things. They added more essays for the students to do. So there's a lot of little pieces that are required of the students to get done in order to apply to a college on time. And 16 and 17-year-old students, many of them are extremely disorganized. I've raised several of them myself. And they don't look at all the little pieces that they need to do, like not only getting the letters of recommendation done, but if they have multiple essays that they have to write, which many of the schools require the multiple essays. By the way, a lot of schools have now gone back to requiring the testing. So the testing is back, but also the 2 and 3 essays that the students need to write, the letters of recommendation. And there are a lot of schools that are also requiring the students do an interview. So it's not easy for students to navigate all this, especially in the timeline that they have to navigate it, to get everything done so that they can get the application in by those deadlines. And the earlier deadlines are more and more important now. The other thing is that colleges are becoming much more selective. So I always use University of Tennessee to explain this. University of Tennessee, 7 years ago, was a great school for the B student. If you had a student who had between a 3.0 and a 3.4, let's say, they could easily get into University of Tennessee in Knoxville, which is a good school, and have a really good education and participate in all the sports. And I mean, it was a great school. COVID hit, and all the schools became test optional, and University of Tennessee got, I think, almost triple the number of applications that they've ever gotten. So now they've become so much more selective. It's not a school for the B student. It's a school for the 3.8 to 4.0 student now. There are some students that will get in who have a lesser GPA, but it's certainly become more selective. And University of Tennessee is not an outlier. There's a lot of schools around this country that are becoming more and more selective.
Look at Maryland. Maryland was a party school 30 years ago, and then now it's almost impossible to get into Maryland.
Well, you can get into Maryland. You've got to do your due diligence and do all the things that you need to do to get in. I mean, one of the things I pride myself on, because I usually have, since I get a lot of students from Maryland, I usually they usually put that on their list. And for the past 5 years, every student that has applied to Maryland and I've worked with has gotten in.
That's because you're good at what you do.
Very good at what you do. But on the other end of the spectrum, the smaller schools or the schools that aren't as good academically, I mean, people are applying and they're saying, well, what do I need to get in? What do I need to do to get in? Can you afford to pay tuition? You're in. I mean, there are so many schools. I mean, here in West Virginia, we have, I think it's Glenville State was 100%, 99%. There are a lot of schools across the country.
Acceptance rate.
Small acceptance rates, smaller schools that are begging people to come, that have lowered their standards. I mean, their standard is, are you alive? Can you afford to pay tuition? And what day can you be here? Sort of like going to a Pirates game. When does the game start? I don't know. When can you be here?
I think the Pirates actually pay you to go to the game now. Hey, Di, before we run out of time, did the Varsity Blues scandal hurt your business or others who do what you do? That would be the Felicity Huffman, Lori Loughlin stuff that went on?
Not at all. Not at all. Because the gentleman who ran that business, who, by the way, is now out of jail and has started another business, he used unethical, unscrupulous practices, and those of us who are doing, we're not doing this to make a whole heck of a lot of money. We're doing it because we love kids, and we also want to keep our hands in. I mean, I'm a selfish reason. I love going on college tours, and I love working with kids. So, to get paid for it is really a kind of cool thing. But we're not saying that we're going to guarantee you a certain SAT score, or we can modify your resume to show that you've done all these extracurriculars and leadership and volunteer experiences. We don't do that. I mean, when a student submits their application, everything that they've submitted is 100% theirs. My role is mainly is to kind of guide them through the process and make sure they get everything in on time.
You take what they have and you accentuate it. You don't have them make stuff up.
No, not at all.
Climbing Mount Everest shows his determination. He'll have that same determination at your college.
He's got good insulated outerwear, is what it shows.
And we have three testimonials from Sherpas that accompanied him on that trip.
Hey, their opinions carry weight, baby.
Yes, and they carry weight also.
Lady Di, I appreciate your time this morning. If someone would like to get in touch with you to find out more about your college advisory services, how would they do that?
My business is called Launching College Success. You just Google that, and my website will come up. My phone number is 240-285-1920.
And I very much enjoy hearing about your new adventure into CASA, because I think you're ideally suited to do something like this, and I'm glad you're doing it. We need people like you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks for the invitation, Rob. I really appreciate it.
It was great catching up with you again.
Great catching up with you, too.
And
you guys have a great day.
I'm so glad I don't have to ask you about the FAFSA form anymore, by the way.
I bet you are.
Have a good day.
Oh, the changes that are coming. The changes that are coming.
Yeah, let's tackle that next time we talk, okay?
That sounds great.
Thank you.
Okay.